Very good afternoon to all. Today is our final day of our presentation, and I am going to give my presentation on a topic. Expressionism is art movement. This is my personal information. Those are some points which I'm going through in my presentation. First, introduction, then Expressionism and its origin, history of Expressionism, then German Expressionist film, then the Expressionism and dance, then new aesthetics, and then conclusion. So, I would like to start my presentation with introduction. Expressionism arose in Europe in the late 19th and early 20th centuries as a response to the Boger's complacency and the increasing mechanization and urbanization of society. Painters such as Vincent van Gogh, Paul and Edmund Mock helped to lay the foundation for Expressionism in their use of distorted figures and vibrant colors schemes to depict raw and powerfully emotional states of mind. Mock's the scream, for example, lithograph depicting a figure with a contorted the face screaming in horror. So, Expressionism is an art movement that roots in 19th century but came in full force in 20th century. And this art movement is very vast and very vast and very and this moment is this moment is different for many situations and for many its meanings. And there is many meanings for expressionism art and artist like self, psyche, nature, and sexuality, and many more things. And these expressionism affect many literary genres like music, art, architect, uh, uh, and painting also. So, Expressionism and its origin. The Expressionism came to life in countries such as Germany, where it served as a response to the horrors of World War One. There was no reaction to realism, which was dominant in the 19th century. Realism was a style of literature that attempted to represent reality as objectively and straightforward as possible. Expressionism, on the other hand, emphasized subjective experience and emotion. Although today the German book is acclaimed as the pioneer group in the German expressionist movement, it is surprising to learn that neither the group nor any of the individual book artists were ever specifically called expressionist during the 1905 and 30 period of the book's existence. Even up to that moment in 1970, when Ernst Ludwig Kierkegaard permanently left Germany to reside in Switzerland, he had once been called an expressionist in his native land. And then history of expressionism as an art movement. The term expressionism indicates the conversatories of the sensitive or interpretative mode of sharing reactions. The word expressionism was first used in 1850, mostly to describe paintings where an artist's strong emotions were clearly shown. The popularity of expressionism increased when Antonin Matek 1910 coined the term. Accordingly to Zach, art historians envision to signify the opposite of expressionism and designate one of the main currents of art that express the highly subjective view of a wide range of modern artists. Then German expressionist film. Expressionist film emerged during the Weimar Republic era and was most pronounced in a number of films from the early 1920s. The stylistic and thematic concerns of expressionism are most fully and displayed in the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, designed by key figure from expressionist painting and theater. Caligari's highly stylized sets employ extreme angles, exaggerated proportions, and dizzying visual patterns. Then, expressionism and dance. In its relation to dance, expressionism must be approached through the diverse but related histories in the realms of theater, dance, and the visual arts. Those stories trace a tendency from the 19th century through the 1930s towards the exploration of movement and gesture as a primary language and communicator of inner life. Expressionism in dance is largely associated with the years 1911 to 1936 and the work in Switzerland and Germany of its primarily theorist Rudolf Leben and choreographer Mary Wigman. Those are pictures of choreographer Mary Wigman. And then new aesthetics. Ludwig Meidner was one of the artists who were aware of the fact that the best of their time couldn't be expressed through the painting technique of Impressionism anymore. In his article, Inland some Melen over Grosted Biden, published in 1940. He criticized the impressionistic way of portraying the city and the emphasizing that the mixture of urban architecture cannot be painted in the same manner as a followed. The new technique concentrates on light focus and usage of straight lights. The rays of light are connected in bundles and fall apart into scripts. They form constraint with the shadows of the buildings. The pictures painted by Eric Haeckel or Ernst Ludwig Kierkegaard follow those aesthetic principles. And then the interaction between the subject and city. Fascination for the life and pulse of the city is just one of many impulses that inspired the expressionist to pick the metropolis out as a central theme of their work. In case of Monck's painting, We only can guess why the subject is screaming, and the elements of the maybe irritating civilization are presented in only through the bridge. Construction or ships, whereas the subject of Mader's paint picture is surrounded and seems to be assaulted by the city. Its learning buildings or smoking chimneys. The sun is also a part of the irritation because in the matter of fact it is only a balloon. For Midner, the city becomes a place where the catastrophic versions happen. His pictures brand state or apocalyptic reveal the city as place of threat and fear. This is a picture of this is a painting of Scream. Uh, then the demonic appearance of the city can be observed in some expressionistic poems too. George hymns text their god their steps and the demon their state can serve as examples. In their god their state, the city has the face of the biblical god named Baal. The personification city is surrounded by the atmosphere of evening and darkness. The streets are filled with millions of people diving in an aesthetic dance. The smoke of the chimneys transform into the smell of incense. Baal's personality is built on aggressive masculinity. He is furious, full of anger and irritated because he cannot eat and swallow. The last horses hovers far away from him. At the end of the poem, he is compared to butcher who is slaughtering the streets and sends the fire and fume to destroy and to eat them. Then conclusion. We know that art begin with stone carvings and writings which represented objects, animals, and rites that were organized by civilians at that time. Those terms and techniques are collected by archaeologists, and it is the proven evidence for their existence. Art history is the study of all art and cultural eternities. Art history carries us closer to the footprint of civilization throughout history because it's the story of us and our global force to create. Since every artwork is realistic and authentic. For example, when people look at Monk's painting, they have two different opinions. It might be a pessimistic or optimistic vision of life. These are my work cited. Thank you. Is there any question?
Tina, my question is, what is attitude of expressionist artist towards expressionism?
This expressionism is the art movement which is very vast, and it is hard to understand because in different situation it had different meanings and different things. And expressionist artists are most of expressionist artists used to create their work upon their emotions and their feelings rather than anything else.
My question is that why the piece of their time could not express in their work of art, as you mentioned in your slides.
because this movement is very different and different from traditional movement, and this movement is denies such kind of traditional rules, and many expressionist artists don't follow it traditional style, and they don't make their art in traditional style, but they focus on their imagination and their emotion and their feelings, uh, um, and uh, that's why the piece of their time couldn't express in their works. Thank you.